Welcome to another video with new stories from Ethiopia and Eritrea and Somaliland as well. Firstly, Somaliland, where an iconic poet has passed away in Hargeisa. Muhammad Ibrahim Warsame passed away today. Secondly, Eritrean and Ethiopian government today lashed out at WHO DG Dr. Tedros Adhanom, who yesterday spoke about humanitarian situation in Tigray, about the siege which Tigray is under. What did the two governments say about Dr. Tedros' yesterday's remarks about humanitarian situation in Tigray? Thirdly, Getachew today held a very candid press briefing. I would say that this is his most candid and impressive press briefing. He did not mince matters. He was very clear. He spoke on several issues without pulling any punches. We'll have a detailed look at what he said, because just now I watched his English briefing and I have some observations. Now, when we have conflicting positions about what happened on Monday, what should happen to know the truth? Ethiopian government today took a position as well through Blenesian about Monday's alleged attack on Dadaba town of Tigray, and Getachew also spoke in detail. Who is speaking the truth? What happened? How will truth come out? We'll talk about that. And Getachew today spoke about the reason behind Tigray's mistrust of Obasanjo. Firstly, Somaliland viewers, in Hargeisa today, an iconic Somali figure passed away. His name is Muhammad Ibrahim Warsame Hadrawi, 79-year-old. Ibrahim Warsame is seen as an icon of Somali literature, a poet. And he died a natural death. He was ill for some time. He is basically from Burayo town, the town where we saw massive demonstrations on Thursday. But he died in Hargeisa. Musi Abdi, president of Somaliland, opposition party leader Abdirahman Wadani and others have shared messages of condolence. His funeral prayer will be held on Friday in Hargeisa. And Somaliland's government has announced that anyone can attend the funeral prayer from Somaliland, from Somalia as well. So it means that on Friday we could see a massive gathering in Hargeisa. Dignitaries, politicians, common citizens from Somalia are likely to attend this funeral gathering as well. We'll update you in coming hours about funeral prayer of Muhammad Ibrahim Warsame Hadrawi. Someone told me Hadrawi means master of speech. He was called master of speech. Condolences to his family, Muhammad Ibrahim Warsame's family. Secondly, viewers, today Eritrean and Ethiopian government lashed out at Dr. Tedros. Dr. Tedros is the most forceful voice of Tigrayans abroad. He has managed to keep the issue of Tigray alive on international level, despite a large conflict, Russia-Ukraine conflict, which is occupying international media's coverage and attention. he has managed to keep Tigray humanitarian issue, Tigray conflict, Tigray siege alive. After a few days, he speaks and world listens to him. After his yesterday's remarks, we have seen international media did some news stories since yesterday on Dr. Tedros' remarks. So what he speaks is heard. It's commented upon. That is why the two governments are mad at him. Ethiopian government today said that Dr. Tedros' remarks are unethical. Eritrean government went after WHO because today World Health Organization on its Twitter account shared Dr. Tedros' yesterday's remarks. And after that, we saw that Eritrean Information Minister Yemane Gebremeskel spoke through a text message. And he said that what Dr. Tedros said yesterday was blatant lies. And WHO crossed red lines today by supporting the propaganda of its DG, Dr. Tedros. Dr. Tedros is whitewashing TPLF's crimes. WHO must not be part of this propaganda, but WHO is crossing red lines. The two countries have been trying to silence Dr. Tedros. A few months ago, Ethiopian government formally lodged a complaint with WHO's executive board against Dr. Tedros. And Ethiopian government asked for an internal inquiry into Dr. Tedros' statements. Back then, Ethiopian government said that Dr. Tedros was using the platform of WHO for his personal agenda to support Tigray Population Fund. WHO's executive board did not take any action, and then we saw that Dr. Tedros was elected for another term as head of WHO. So nothing is going to happen. The two governments are criticizing Dr. Tedros for his alleged support for TPLF. Thirdly, was Getachew today held a press briefing, and a much better, impressive press briefing, very candid. If you remember, a few days ago, I criticized one of his press briefings. I said that journalists' questions were not being properly addressed by Getachew in these press briefings. But today, I think he responded to all the questions, though questions were asked all together, and Getachew then replied one by one, but he addressed all the questions. And he was replying, he wasn't reading from his own personal notes, he was replying. It seemed today. So it was a much better press briefing and very candid one. He did not pull any punches. He spoke with clarity, with integrity, I would say, on several issues. Firstly, he spoke about what happened in Tedros. He said that on Monday, Ethiopian government forces conducted shelling. It took 2 days for Tigray to report. Why? Because it was a surprise for Tigray that how did it happen? And was it an isolated incident, mistake of a commander, or individual act of a commander, or was it an institutional activity? And in 2 days, Tigray confirmed that Ethiopian government was behind the attack. That is why the incident was reported late, 48 hours late. Now, let's analyze this first point. Ethiopian government's position today Bilinesium rejected Tigray's claim of attack on Redebut. Bilinesium said it was a false rhetoric being adopted by TPLF because TPLF does not want to be part of any talks. It wants to start war. It is using such false incidents, false narratives as pretext for starting a war. Tigray says that it did happen. Its forces were attacked. How will truth come out? Firstly, either there must be a third party, some observers, some journalists, some diplomats who should visit Tigray and see for themselves what happened in Redebut. Because if shelling has been carried out on Redebut, there must be impact of shelling there. But Ethiopian government is not expected to allow international media or diplomats to travel to Tigray. What can Tigray do? I think Tigray should share its evidence. If Redebut was attacked, if TDF positions were attacked, there must be evidence of impact. Tigray should share pictures, videos, people can be interviewed, members of Tigray Defense Force can be interviewed where it happened. Impact of shelling can be shown. Tigray has not shown anything so far. I think Tigray should show the evidence if the attack happened, which Tigray is claiming. Because attack was on those territories which are under Tigray control. Redebut is under Tigray control. So evidence is not difficult to collect and share. So I personally suggest that Tigray should share evidence. Because Ethiopian government is rejecting it. So Ethiopian government is not going to send any fact-finding commission, any journalists, any diplomats to Redebut. It's up to Tigray to share the evidence. Secondly, Getachew spoke about Obasanjo, the reason behind Tigray's mistrust of Obasanjo. Getachew said that it was a little difficult for Tigray to understand Obasanjo's position on Western Tigray. Obasanjo was finding it difficult to understand Tigray's position on Western Tigray. So it's now clear that when Tigray said that Ethiopia-Tigray peace talks should not be led by African Union, by Obasanjo, it's because African Union, Obasanjo's position on Western Tigray seems to be same as that of Ethiopian federal government. And secondly, Getachew said that Obasanjo could not keep his promise. He asked Tigray regional government to release ENDF prisoners. Tigray government responded, but and Obasanjo was due to attend the program where ENDF prisoners were to be released. But Obasanjo could not come because Getachew says Abiy Ahmed did not acknowledge the release of these ENDF prisoners. When they were released, they crossed Afar Tigray border into Afar and they were put in detention camps. Thirdly, he rejected the possibility of any inclusion of Eritrean government in peace talks. That was what we concluded when that news, that briefing note was leaked that African Union was interested in inviting Eritrea to peace talks. If you remember, I concluded back then that Tigray would boycott peace talks, and Getachew Reda confirmed. He said Tigray will not be part of peace process if Eritrea is invited. He ended his press briefing at a very pessimistic note. Though he said that people should be optimistic, about peace in Tigray, in northern part of Ethiopia. But the briefing ended on a very pessimistic note. It seems that it's a hopeless situation, a difficult situation. There are very slim chances of peace if there is no change of course, especially from Ethiopian government side. Ethiopian government is not stepping back from its position. It does not want to restore basic services in Tigray. So either Tigray will have to make some concessions or Ethiopian government. Tigray is relying on international community so far. Getachew said that it was Tigray's request that Western diplomats be sent to Tigray for Tigray to give assurances about security of workers who will work to resume, to restore basic services in Tigray. So it was the request of Tigray that we saw Mike Hammer, Kenneth Weber, others visit Tigray a few days ago. Tigray opposed African Union's visit, Obasanjo's visit of Tigray. Tigray said it wanted to give assurances to Western diplomats. And when Tigray did give assurances to Western diplomats, Ethiopian government said it was just a piece of paper and more was needed for resumption of basic services. So coming hours, coming days, 1, 2, 3 days are very crucial. Tigray is waiting for international community to respond regarding what happened on Monday. If there is no response, if there is no intervention, we could see some serious escalation. Thank you for watching.